Hello and welcome to my chapter reviews of the two chapters Taking Root 1.3 and Taking Root 1.4 of Wildbow's web serial Twig. I'm a genius. I bought a microphone so that you have better audio quality, but I forgot to turn it on. Chapter 1.3 opens with Sylvester playing with a syringe, which was fancy, but also has a silver leaf at the plunger. So this syringe represents how this world is. It's still the early 1900s, so people value appearances, but also functionality. So this world is on a crossroads. Also, I would say the syringe represents what Sylvester thinks of himself. Syringe has one purpose, but this syringe is also fancy, and I think that Sylvester plays with it and tries to break it shows his contempt for appearances over functionality, which comes up often. He also doesn't like the color white, and he doesn't like people who are polite for the sake of it. Because he's never polite, he goes out of his way to mentally torture this woman Lacey, who brings him to the school, to the Mothmon school, which is a ladder school. I don't know if a ladder school is a special kind of school or is just a school that is just prepares students to go to the Rhythm Academy. So apparently, Sai was cooped up in this room for 7 days, and he shows signs of mental degradation. So he breaks glass containers with spiders which roam free in the room, and he also topples a very heavy bookcase by methodically and patiently stacking books under it and pushing it at the top corner. I don't know why. It just likes to make a mess. he at one point says, I'm really honest. And then Mr. Hale says to Sai, then give me a convincing lie. Yes, sir. If they need my help, I'll give it. So apparently, Sylvester has a strange attitude towards telling the truth or talking to people. He doesn't share information on his own. He has to be pushed. And it seems to me that they try to groom Sai as a competent liar. So Sai and the other lambs are sent to this Mothmont ladder school to investigate several murders. Apparently some children, or so they suspect, are involved in murdering their parents or their relatives which are close to them. In this chapter there's also mentioned that there were originally 6 projects. So we already know that Sai was Project Wyvern, Ellen was Project Galatea, Gordon was Project Griffin, and Jamie was Project Caterpillar. We don't learn what the names of the other 2 projects were, but we know that they died, that they were unviable, whatever that means. But Sai suspects that Hale lies, and he also knows that Hale plays games with him and tests him. He expected that much in the second chapter. So I think there's a very strong possibility that Hale also lies about this last 2 projects. I think we will at least learn what these projects are and maybe even meet a stitched version, a composite or of one or both. Later, Sai mentions that the doctors at the academy wear gray coats, so this can't be an accident. Normally, medical doctors wear white, so they don't wear white here. They are not white hats. They have no, I think, no Hippocratic oath. They also do morally morally flexible stuff, I think. And we can expect that these doctors also cause harm. The do not harm rule may not hold for them. So after they convinced Sylvester to come out, they sent him to Mothmont with Lacey, and Sylvester does his utmost to make it uncomfortable to her. So he's glaring at her. He's not answering her questions. He's making comments to make her, uncomfortable. I don't know why. I don't understand Sai. He also tells her a moral tale about human nature. Give a man a gun, tell him to shoot his neighbor, and he gets shot. First man we put in this situation does it without care, pulls the trigger. Second man cries and moans, and so on. The third one cries and moans but pulls the trigger and doesn't sleep in the night. And the fourth one decides that he won't do it and gets shot himself. And my expectation is that these four men represent the four lambs. So, and the only lamb that is more unscrupulous than Sylvester is Helen. So I would suspect that Helen is the first man, the man who kills without hesitation. Sylvester is the man who doesn't want to kill, but also doesn't lose sleep over it. I think the third man could be Jamie, which does murder, but does not sleep afterwards. I think Gordon, who was described as the hero character, takes the bullet. So this is at least what is set up here. And I strongly suspect that this expectation is a red herring, and that we will later learn that the roles are maybe, if not totally reversed, different, so that maybe Gordon is very, that appearances can deceive, so that Helen has a conscience and Gordon doesn't, even if it appears the other way around. That's my prediction. Yeah, Sylvester doesn't like Lacey, but when she lies 2 times straight to his face, he almost liked her. So I think Sylvester thrives in deception and in not telling people what he thinks and what he knows, and he only respects people who also play fast and loose with the truth. He arrives at the school, meets the other children, and Jamie explains that there were 5 attempts on their lives in the last 7 days. They are very clever, or they are rogue elements of the academy. So there's apparently another group of children assassins, either from the Redham Academy or from a different laboratory, which are in the school and try to kill them, and apparently also kill parents of the school children. 1.4 opens, and Gordon and Helen tell that they tried to get into the peer groups of the girls and boys. And then Sylvester tries to find out which of these children are not what they appear to be. So he gets into a fight with Draco Malfoy. I mean Ed. He calls him an inbred, and Ed is apparently part of the aristocracy. He doesn't take that very well and punches Sylvester several times. But this was all a ruse to get the other assassin children to show their faces, but they are very cautious, while most other children watch the fight and come closer in the yard. The 3 suspects just peek out of the window and cover their faces behind curtains and stuff. Then we learn that one attempt on Gordon's life was poison. So, first question, how did Gordon survive the poison? I think that Gordon has some biotech modification which makes him immune or make him cope with the poison. And also this makes the others think that the other group, the enemy group, has to have at least one girl, because poison is the weapon of choice of women assassins, apparently. And I don't know if this is just because we are here in a biological fantasy world where poisons are easier to mix, or just because women have not the physical strength to kill their targets. If your target can physically overwhelm you, this is not a good idea. So poison it is. I think this prediction might be a red herring, and there is no girl, but there also might be a girl, I don't know. So I think this rival gang will get a name later, and if they are not here from the academy as a rogue element, I think a rival academy might have sent them there. Or this is even an organized training, so that the academy might have sent a second team of lambs, or not lambs, but second team of child assassins to test which of their teams is better. So another point that shows that these children are very well trained is that Sylvester realizes that Gordon is watching his back before Ed can get to him. And this gives away their plan, because they appear more like operatives for a secret organization than children, and they want to appear as children, so to not raise suspicion, but Gordon does Gordon things and protects Sai. So to provoke Ed, Sai makes Helen kiss him on the forehead and fix his hair, which is long and messy. And his hair thing was also mentioned in 1.3 when Lacey wanted Sai to cut his hair or to fix it so that he looks like a proper gentleman, but he doesn't. And Helen instantly grasps what Sai is trying to do, and also plays Ed by accidentally snorting at a mean joke that Sai does to provoke Ed. On the creepiness scale, I think Helen is the top dog, followed by Sylvester, followed by Gordon and Jamie, and last but not least, there's Lillian, who appears to be normal so far. They say when you go to prison you should murder someone or join a gang. The idea is that you want to figure out the pecking order and fit yourself into somehow. So this is a very calculating and dark outlook at the world. He gets called out for comparing the school with a prison, but it shows the mental place in which Sai is right in this moment. I already said that I don't understand Sai as a person, and he also Gordon later mentions, I suspect the only person who really gets you think is you, Sai. Helen gets me, I said. Helen is, Gordon started. Yeah. So this also establishes that Jamie and Gordon are different from Helen and Sylvester. I would expect that Helen and Sylvester have something in common that is different from Gordon and Jamie. The two unviable projects were the first ones. Helen and Sylvester were Project 3 and Project 4. Gordon and Jamie are the last projects, so they maybe fixed the mental problems. My last question or my questions I have after chapters is, who will get the first interlude? And I personally hope that any one of the lambs will get an interlude, because I still don't understand a lot of the characters. I want to know, what is Jamie's deal? What is Gordon thinking? Why is Helen the way she is? And I think because that would be too interesting, we will get a rather different yet unknown adult person, maybe someone from the orphanage. Wallstone's ratios are shortly mentioned in the class. Apparently, they are something like Ohm's law. If you know, if you learn about them in school in the 6th or 7th grade. What I want to know is, where does this story go? Why are the characters doing what they are doing? What are their motivations? Don't they leave the academy? Why do they work for the academy, even if they don't like it here? Is only Sylvester hating the academy and his work? Why do they always work together? Do they have any lives outside of the academy and their missions? If you have questions or ideas for themes I could talk about in the next videos, please comment below. One idea I have is, I will discuss names of the arc, names of the characters at the end of arc 1. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you will also watch the next ones. So, see you in the next one.